It's been a while. It's been like 1 year delayed. Not that this doesn't matter, but yeah,
No.
finally I wanted to bring it in and talk about everything that you do because it's so fascinating what you do and about the elements, about everything. Just you know, share all with me. How did you
Okay.
started? How did you find that you were that this was your purpose? That this was your mission? How did you find first um, noticed or realized that was something that you wanted to do?
Yes. Good question. Um, I think my whole life I sort of understood that I was somebody who understood the energetics of I would say the energetics of aesthetics, which might sound super weird, but I started understanding how like certain people could wear something or like certain people could be exuding an energy and there would be the aesthetic to match. Or I could tell like from a very young age when somebody wasn't showing up as themselves, when they were hiding something, when they were masking themselves. I could feel it's almost like I walked through life having all these almost like crushes on people because I could see the magic in them and their amazingness. I could see them their actual real energy and essence, probably more their essence. Um, and I almost was like salivating to show them what I was seeing, right? And
Hmm.
so my tool from an early age, just because I grew up with, around fashionistas, my grandparents, I grew up around them a lot, and they were very fashionable, and there was a lot of emphasis on aesthetics.
Hmm.
And so I resonated with that, and that was kind of my tool to start showing people that. Um, tell me.
I was going to ask if you since another age because you had that influence from your surroundings from your family, if it was something that you were already, you were already dressing like different clothing, you were already exuding some different clothes from what was the trend back then,
Yeah, I was taking it in. I could do it. It was almost like my sister and my cousins and my everyone, they were my muses. I felt too, for other reasons, I felt very inferior. I felt unworthy and I felt like I needed to be invisible. So it took me a while. I was still a weirdo, even though I thought I was coming off as a normal person. I thought I was trying to disguise myself as a normal person who could just slip through the cracks no one would see. But obviously, I mean, your uniqueness, it comes out anyway, even if you're trying to hide it, right? So I know I was showing it in some ways, but it took me until probably I would say my 20s to really be like in ownership and really start expressing fully my own visual and energetic expression. It took me a while longer after that to even consider that it was going to help other people or that this would be what my job was, my livelihood, my mission, or whatever. Because I thought it was really superficial. I thought it wasn't really intellectual.
Futile.
Yeah, I thought it was, yeah, frivolous, futile, like silly, right? Oh, fashion. And so
Yeah.
the thing I knew for my whole life was that I didn't like things being categorized. So I was like, I like the style thing, but I don't want to be a stylist. I love like magic and weirdness and time travel and all that. But I'm not a witch. Like I don't. So there were always these. I couldn't put myself in a box. I love psychology and seeing how people like mask and like I was really fascinated by sort of the underbelly and the darkness in people. Probably what I would say now is ego and the expression of ego. When you're letting ego
Identity.
rule.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was always fascinated by that. Um, but I wasn't like, but I didn't, but I was like, but I don't want to be a psychologist. I don't want to be a therapist. So I always kind of fought like the categories, I was always resistant because they didn't feel quite truthful. Um, so it actually took me a while to come to this. The closest thing I found was coaching back in the day. It's been like over a decade now, like 12, 13 years, probably 13 years. And that it felt like it was close because I could kind of put my own spin on it,
Hmm.
but it still felt fluffy. It felt basic.
It was not aligned perhaps with the things that you want to do.
It wasn't truth. Um, and so how did I come to this? So eventually, blah blah blah. I actually got a Reiki attunement to help me with my anxiety. And when I start to give myself Reiki, and then when I started giving myself Reiki, then I eventually got to the whatever the second level, and then I was able to give other people Reiki, and I started just really connecting with something bigger. Like it kind of expanded my energetic, my not this reality vision and awareness. And
Mm-hmm.
I was able to start, like, I would start working on people, and like, I would have people being like, it feels like you're like, you know, like you're hugging my heart in my chest and all these weird things, you know? And I was like, what? So it was like the first time that I started understanding the
The
magic, you know what I
energetics
mean?
and the form, and that perhaps you were just, you know, putting your hands in the head, and the person would feel your hands on the lower belly or something like that. Yeah.
Exactly. And even like somebody wants to like bring something into their lives, and I could just literally want it for them, maybe sometimes even more than them, and it would like appear, and they're like freaked out about these things, you know? So it's like I started seeing it all started kind of coming together. And with Reiki also, I started understanding the elements differently through the chakras.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I was like, wait a minute, I'm not like, I think people express in these ways, right? I started seeing the connection, like the elements, like if they're the elements, they're all in us too. People express more heavily with them, you know? So it sort of started coming in. I don't want to, I didn't think about it. I wasn't journaling. I wasn't trying to figure anything out. It really was effortless. It really did come in magically.
Easily.
And so, yeah. And so I was able to sort of connect those dots. Like my gateway for people is the clothing, because that's like the initial activation. That's the initial reminder, right? Like you're not just like whatever, water, trying to be feminine and soft and like divine fet, like all this. You're more complex than that. So when we bring in your other element and you can own that, and you can own the parts of those elements that you've been resisting, we don't care about the elements anymore. It opens the portal to iconic you, which is inimitable. Like there's no other person that has that carries that, right? So it's almost like I started under, and I mean that took me a while, right? The way I progressed with the elements. So and it's progressed a lot over the years. But so I guess it just I didn't I felt like I was someone who didn't have a passion. I was like, I what is my passion? What's my talent? Like my husband's a musician and he's brilliant. And I was like, God, I envied that, you know, like having
Yeah.
my but I think
What
my
is
thing
my
was,
thing? What is my thing?
what's my thing? But it was an ego thing, right? So
Yeah.
once I was like, you know what, fuck it, let's just. So now it's even more like I don't even know if this will be my work forever. This is just where we've gotten to this point, and we'll see what's next. I don't know. We'll see, because I'm just really in nowness, and it's been a year of ego death. So um, parts of my business have gone down in flames, and that's kind of cool.
The
It's
last
scary to
year.
be human. Oh yeah, this whole year has been fucking wacky.
Yeah, like mine.
So what better thing do I have to do than just wait for instructions from iconic me, really? Than to really fucking practice what I've been preaching all along, right? Because your elements get you to iconic you, and then iconic you is universe, source, God. And when you're that connected to that directly, you don't need really anything earthly. You can await instructions and do your thing, and you remember who you are, right?
Exactly.
So
That's what when I first saw you online, I don't know, it was someone that shared one post of you comparing to another person that I'm not going to even say the name, but I just felt like this woman has something very, very unique that really appeals to me and was a style, because what you are saying is exactly what I've been feeling all my life. Like it's not that I'm trying to fit in, but I know that the environment, the country where we are born really influences and really impacts us, the way that
of
we
course,
style, the way that we dress.
yeah,
And I have always had this huge challenge because I have a younger sister, and I hated that my mom would dress us equally. I was just like,
yeah.
I would just feel pissed off, you know? Like my mother would buy the same clothes for both of us, and I'm just like, fuck, that is not
Yeah.
how.
Did one of you have pink and one have blue? One of
No,
you
no,
have
no.
purple and one have pink?
We
Because that's what my
actually
mom
had the
did.
same
Oh,
colors, which was even worse for me because I really wanted to
oh
stand out.
yeah,
I really wanted to stand out, but not because I wanted to stand out from her. I just wanted to dress like I wanted to dress myself.
yeah,
And my mom used to buy my clothes, used to dress me, and I hated it. So I just had this had and I'm still having this love-hate connection relation with clothes, because where I live, and it's not, I live in Portugal, you live in Paris, so we are living in totally different countries, but we can find clothes in many shops, like vintage shops and other shops. And for example, I don't especially like going to the mall, to the shoppings, because it's everything the same. It's all Zara's, it's all Mangoes,
Yeah.
and the shops have the same clothes. And sometimes I'm just staring at the clothes and I'm just like, I'm not gonna buy this because this does not.
It doesn't feel like a fuck yeah.
Yeah,
And I think even the way they style it is just very uniform, uniform, uniform. Yeah.
yes, like fabricated. Everybody wears the same,
Yeah.
and I'd rather not buying anything than buy something that I'm gonna dress just for the sake of buying something and dress it, you know?
Yeah. I get that. I get that. Yeah.
And that's why when I found your work and I saw how you were mixing all these elements that I had no idea that were the elements. I know that you are hair, which you have, I know
Oh,
before we go into the
air
quiz,
and space.
air and space.
Air and space.
And when I first did your quiz, it was fire and space, and made all the sense, because I was mostly on my fire element, and I was
Yeah.
dressing according to my fire elements, which is um, like here in Portugal, it can suggest that I'm very sexy, very hot, very whatever, but
Like a temptress. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But the space element was the space that really fascinates me. And
Mm.
and for me, it's what I found most challenging. It's how am I going to integrate that space element in what I have already,
Yeah.
my
I
clothing,
get that.
you know? And I think that is the most challenging piece for most of your clients, I believe. It's
Yeah.
integrating that element that makes all the difference when combined with the element that the person already wears more often.
Yep. The default element. Because, and the thing is that makes it so hard is that we kind of default unknowingly. Because I mean, not everyone's like, oh, I'm two elements. Like, obviously, I don't want to say made it up, but I know it's not I haven't spoken to everyone on earth, and not everyone approaches style that way. And so I feel like when at first we're going through our world trying to kind of default to the thing that feels safest. So culturally, maybe within our family, at school, whatever it is, right? So fire, obviously, maybe with where you grew up, that made sense, right? And I feel like a lot of Europe, or like, I grew up between Mexico and the US. So in Mexico, the idea of like, as a woman, you should be sexy and show your shape and be a little bit, you know what I mean? Like there are these kind of preconceived notions. And when you put in an element like space, that can get really scary because it's androgynous, it's
Exactly.
avant-garde, it's innovative, it's confusing. So people, it's like, if I didn't fit it, like where do I fit in now? If I'm actually like just wearing outwardly this whole weird space thing, like how do I even function? How am I even going to be perceived? It's this, the human gets really scared with that, because also the more we dress it, the more we own it in other parts of our lives, right? The more it amplifies. Um, and that's scary shit for the human, right?
Yep. Yep. Um, there was a question popping up regarding for example, when you say by default, for example, like here in Portugal, my default mode was actually seen very, how can I say, too much, by being too
Yeah.
much. And I know that I didn't need it to wear those piece of clothing to feel my fire, because I've always felt this fire within.
Yeah.
So it was not something that I was dressing to, put my fire out, but it was something that absolutely enhanced all the fire that was already within. And
Yeah.
that has put me in several situations where people would mistake that way of dress like being promiscuous or trying to be like this or trying to get some space in the room, which was not truth. And there was at certain point of my life, I have decided to ditch all that piece of clothing and become more normal, more conservative, more,
Mm.
you know, more with a suit or something like that, more
Yeah.
sober, more sobriety in my piece of clothing, which
Yeah.
also I feel a connection with it, but
Hmm.
makes me like I feel that people feel that I'm it is my perception when I'm in a suit I look much more serious. People take me more serious, you know,
Mm. Yeah.
and sometimes I'm just like even men, they won't approach me because they felt, oh my god, that woman just seems so powerful with that suit. She must be like a CEO an enterprise or something like that, which was not the
Yeah.
case. And that's exactly what you were saying, because all this human perception and how people are going to perceive us kind of makes us either diminish our way of dressing and our own lights, or enhance and make us propel to another place where we will feel more aligned with who we are by dressing the clothes that are more suitable according to our elements.
Yeah, because we're taught to dress externally. For the outside world, right? We're taught that we're supposed to care about what people think. We have to impress them. We have to control the narrative. We have to control their perception of us. We have to be taken seriously. We have to seem smart. We have to, but all the rules around that, every single fucking rule around how you look smart, how you look professional, how you look
Yeah.
like you're not a slut, all of that has been made up.
Yep.
It's all made up. So it just perpetuates the illusion. It's another beautiful way of keeping people in the illusion. When we start tapping into our elements and we're dressing for truth, right? Okay, this is what I'm literally iconic me, whatever universe, this is what it's a weird ass outfit, but this is what is happening today. We're going to just go for it. That is totally different. You're doing it not even for yourself. You're doing it because that's truth. You're doing it because that's what's been dictated to you by iconic you. And that's what's going to be most supportive to your unfolding that day. Right. And that is a game changer. That when you dress from that, the way you dress when you're dressing from that sort of perspective or approach is going to be totally different from when you're dressing to try to avoid contact or get people to look at you a certain way, isn't it? So yeah, it's a big game changer, but we're all taught that we're supposed to care a lot about how other people perceive us. So when we go see this group of people, we have to dress this way so that they take us seriously. Or when we go see the cool, weird friends, we can dress a little bit weird and cool, right?
Yeah.
But what about you? What about truth? What about iconic you? What about the energetics? What about, there's so much more going on that matters so much more than, essentially, we dress to fuel or quell or soothe other people's fucking egos and our own egos. Oh, if I make that person happy and comfortable by how I dress, I get some brownie points. I get some compliments. I don't get criticized, and then I feel good, and I feel like a good girl. I feel like I haven't done anything wrong. So everyone's ego is getting, soothed.
Triggered. Yeah. Nourished and triggered at the same time. I,
Yep.
I can bring up an example. Like this summer, I went to this. I live in the Algarve, and this is many cities and different ways of dressing. This is the coastal side of Portugal, so we have many surfers and many towns where it's like surfer style based. So I went to
Yeah.
this party during the summer, and I just felt wearing this beautiful dress, like really close to the body dress with a big stilettos, and that's it. Just barely no makeup. It was summer, it was hot, and I just decided to go to this party. It was in this surf area. And when I got to that place, everybody was just like, oh my God, please just bring the red carpet for this woman because she's like, and I was just like, suddenly it was like very confusing for me because I was not dressing for the people. I was not dressing for that place. I was dressing because I wanted to dress like that. But
Yeah.
somehow there was this moment that I felt a little bit discomfort, like, oh my God, probably I'm not dressed to the occasion. Probably I'm not, and I'm just like, fuck it. I'm
Yeah.
dressed because I want to dress this way. If people are not
Exactly.
feeling comfortable about that because people are going along the crowd and dressing like with surfing clothes and all those basic line, which is also okay, but it's not the way that I want to dress. That's not
Exactly.
I want to show up. And for a moment, I was just like, I'm going home and I'm going to change my dress. And I'm just like, no, I'm not going home. I'm going to change my dress. I'm going to stay like this because this is how I'm going to, I want to be dressed tonight. So I went
Yep.
over and took a walk by the city and everybody was just like, bam. Because it was like, there was no one dressed like that. And for
Of
me,
course.
what for me was just like normal
Yeah.
for them was just like, my God, this woman must be a star or
Out
celebrity
of
or
this world.
whatever.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
and at a certain point, I was just like, I just start feeling comfortable because
Yeah.
yeah, people are gonna go watch anyway. But
Yeah. And that's, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just going to say that doesn't make any sense. Just dressed, even go to a wedding party just because it's a wedding party. People here buy special gowns to go to those parties. I can go perfectly with just, I don't know, a pair of jeans or something like that because I wanted to dress like that, you know?
Yeah. Yes.
But not to make a difference, not to make an impact. And that's what sometimes for people, they mistake that my way of dress. I'm just talking about myself. They mistake my way of dress like being a rebel. You want to be a rebel. You want to make yourself notice. And there was a time that I would justify, no, I'm not. This is the way I want to dress. And today I'm just like, fuck off. I don't want to talk about
Yeah.
that. This is exactly
Yeah.
how I want to dress today. This is how I feel today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow
Perfect.
can be something else.
That's the thing. And also, even the rules of what you're supposed to wear to certain contexts and stuff like that, it's literally all made up. Like the rules and the society rules change all the time, but everyone thinks like that's the only way, right? And what I want to offer too, like about the black dress and going to this event, like if you know what you're supposed to wear, like if you just that's what you're called to wear, and you know this is what I'm meant to wear. Period. This is what iconic me want said to wear. We're fucking wearing it. um, Either it's going to contribute when you go to this event to your unfolding because somehow it'll become a topic of conversation that brings that person, that makes a connection, that whatever, right? Or it's helping you clear your ego. It's helping you get rid of the shit, right? That's it. So either way, it's going to benefit you. Iconic me
Yeah.
knows why, so might as well trust it. Who the fuck cares, right? We need to get t-shirts that say iconic me made me wear this or something.
Yeah, but
Iconic me made me do it. Yeah.
yeah, I'm still, tell me about your quiz. How do you first um, decided, or how did the quiz came up as a tool for you to create as a way to help other potential clients to know more about their elements. And so because through that quiz it's magical because the, the the person that does the quiz has immediately an idea of what to dress and what the default
Element is, yeah.
elements.
Yep. Yeah. So it came about, I feel like it was early on, I was doing a lot of like one-on-one stuff, and I was like, it would be cool if people kept asking, how can I find out my elements but without working one-on-one with you? And I was like, it would be fun to have more people know what their elements are, right? And then if they want to work with me to learn more or to whatever, then they can do that. And so it just the idea came to me to do a quiz because I think quizzes are fun.
Yeah,
Like in magazines and online and stuff. And so I wanted it to be like not cliche. It's not like I wanted it to be sort of something that could be. I always think about the like energetic imprint or the essence of something rather than how can I make them understand that through their brain? Like that doesn't appeal to me at all. I don't think that's the most useful because that's the direct line to ego and illusion, right? So when I created that quiz, it was really just a way to help more people understand the elements and be able to start applying it. Because, and then I did a little kit where they could go and check out their clothes and stuff like that. So I was like, that's just really fun. And then if someone wants to explore further, they can come work with me or join one of my programs. But it's a really good start, and it helps a lot of people shift immediately. So it was really just that like excitement to share this with more people. And when I wrote the questions, it was really not trying. It was just, okay, kind of like what emerged, right? And it was those. And actually the quiz just got a total revamp. And it's going to, I'm going to relaunch it very soon. So that's very exciting. So it's going to be more global because when I did the style quiz, it was really me trying to lead with the style because I didn't understand the depth of, not even depth. I didn't understand, I hadn't gotten to a point in my work where it had developed as much. So I was like, I guess I'm just pigeonholed in the style thing. But as I worked with clients more long-term and did group programs and things like that, I started really owning more and seeing more how like the profound shifts that they make just from starting with their clothes, right? It's the initial activation or attunement. And so the quiz now kind of reflects that more. It's not just about clothes, it's more iconic brand, but that's like just a 3D way to say like essence. What's your essence that you can carry over into your like business effortlessly instead of trying to follow the rules and do all these things these ways that you're supposed to? If everything got to just be effortless because it's really coming from iconic you, from the cosmos, like what would happen, right? So that's what the quiz is really about now.
Let me ask you about, perhaps this can be a personal question, but it's also something that can help me and help other viewers. Like,
ask me anything.
how do you buy where do you buy your clothes?
Where do I buy clothes?
Where do you,
Honestly,
not talking about brands, but for example, just putting aside the shopping malls and those, Zara's and all the stuff, because there
the
are
fast fashion.
exactly because there are some shops that I go, and it's like those really small shops with clothes, and sometimes it's where I found the most appealing uh, pieces for me. It's just
Little
like, oh my
treasures.
God. And when it's, and I kid you not, when I find something that I really, 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 when I feel that connection, I buy it immediately. It's like,
Beautiful.
I'm not even thinking twice. Just like, this is it. This is
Good.
it.
Yep.
This is it. But most of the clothing is like, no, it's a big no. No, no,
Yep.
no, 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 no. Last year I went shopping to buy some clothes, and I brought the mattress. I was like, how funny. But like I said, I'd rather buying nothing than buying something that does not just
Not a
for
fuck yeah.
buying. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so where do I shop? I mean, honestly, I shop the way I do everything, which is if I feel a pull or fuck yeah or a nudge to go somewhere, then I do. And then I typically find I know, and I don't even want to say I find it, it finds me. There's some treasure. Like I went to Colorado last to the US to see my family last year. And I went to this like it looks like the most boring ass like just junk shop, which are all right. Junk shops can be fun. I'm not gonna lie. I do like
Yeah.
a junk shop for like old decorations and stuff. But it didn't look very appealing. It looked kind of like bleh, just very
Especially.
frumpy and dusty. It didn't look appealing. But I got a call. Yes, you have to go in there, right? So I was like, okay, I guess we're going into grandma's whatever. Like that's what it was called, grandma's attic or something like that. And so we went and everything. I was like, man, blah, 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 blah. And then I was getting ready to leave. And as I walked out, I saw the case of stuff and I saw this.
I was watching, I was just looking at it, and I'm just like, where did she bought that key?
In the middle of cowboy country, Colorado. Like, who the fuck wears this in Colorado cowboy country? Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, that's how I found all of these things. Essential. This too comes from just the magical. So it's really if I do it like I do everything. I receive a message, or I'm pulled or tugged or a whisper, and I go, and then I do it. That's really it.
In terms of feedback of your clients, what are their feedback, their responses when they start adding that missing element to their lives, because I've seen many pictures, many images from in your online social media from before and now,
Yeah,
and people just look dramatically different with that adding element. And what I
yeah,
want to know is, in what ways did that addition to that element change their lives? And
yeah,
what were their challenges by adding that element to their lives? Because there is inevitably something that will, challenge their identity. Because who am I
of
now with this new element? How do people are going to perceive me with this new
of
element?
course. I'm not me anymore. I'm not supposed to change, right? Oh, there
Am
have definitely been people whose families like threaten them, like, oh, we might get a
I going to
divorce, or
am I going to push people away? Am I going
yeah,
to bring people in? What's going to happen?
family, clients, significant other. Yeah, what's my spouse gonna think? What's my wife or husband gonna think? Or what's my, my parents? What if they like they're like they're gonna think I'm literally, I've heard they're gonna think I'm like a whore. They're gonna think I'm a slut.
Yeah.
They're gonna think I'm not able to care for my children. So it's like it's deep shit. Like the fears are deep. Because essentially your second element, the one you're hiding, represents the deepest fears that the parts of you that ego tells you will make you unlovable, and that will make you end up poor and alone and destitute and who knows what else, right?
I'm gonna
It
I'm gonna
feels
tell you
feeling
I'm
really
gonna tell you
deep.
right away. I'm gonna tell you right away. My biggest fear in adding the space element into my clothing, it's to look cold. It's the fear that I will look cold,
Yeah,
because I am already someone that has this. I'm not a cold person. I'm a very warm woman. It's very sensual. But adding that element, and because sometimes I have these responses that does not match the most women's response
yeah,
life.
I'm
I'm
not
here,
surprised.
yeah, it's not that I'm cold. It's just like I know what I want, I know what I don't want, and sometimes the way I respond and the way I'm responding to the externals sometimes make me look like I'm a cold person, which I am not. And by adding that space element, that is my most deepest fear, that I will look even more cold and people will just walk away
Of course. Yeah. And that's why we avoid it, right? I
from
totally
me.
get that. For space, I resisted, because sometimes it can be kind of a combination too, right? For space, I resisted. I didn't want to be a weirdo. I was already a weirdo because of my circumstances growing up. So I was like, and I'm already a quote unquote freak. Like, how come I'm not going to make myself stand out even more, right? And for air, I was really terrified of being considered dumb or not serious or kind of like not very intelligent, right?
Yeah.
So then we hide those parts of ourselves. But the truth is, um, they come out in other ways. And also, what we're doing is we're still trying to cut off parts of ourselves. We're kinking ourselves, right? And so we can't receive full truth. We can't. And so right, because you're in a way like you're sending a mixed signal, not only to yourself but like to your universal self, to the cosmos, right? So it's like, I want to do this, I want to see clearly, I want to help, I want to know my mission, I want to follow directions, but how about I just hide this little part of myself, because I don't want people to stop liking me because I'm cold, so I'm just going to hide that part of myself. That's kind of like, then you're cutting an entire wire almost, right? If we talk about a connection. And so there's part that can't come in because you can't receive it because you're not allowing yourself to be all of you,
It's true.
right? And so it's less about the clothes and more about the allowance. Like, what if you embrace, like, yeah, maybe some people will think that I'm cold. I've heard that a lot, that I come off as stern or like aloof or
Yeah.
intimidating or
Oof.
whatever. Yeah. So I wouldn't consider myself sensual, but I'm definitely aloof and intimidating, all those things. Yes. Which is super my space, right? So what? Like, if this is my most expansive, energetic, like truthful, cosmically conscious way of being, so that I can take myself all the way in this lifetime and make the big carry out whatever the fuck it is I'm meant to carry out, then cool. A few people can think I'm cold. Few people can think I'm dumb. Few people can think I'm annoying. A few people can think I'm pretentious. I've been called that too. Um, at the end of the day, who the fuck cares? Like those aren't the people who are meant to be, or maybe they are. Maybe that's part of cleansing my ego. That person thinks I'm cold. I'm going to clear that out of my out of my energetics, out of my ego, right? Continue to let my ego die, and then I fucking carry on. That's it. Because I'm here to be iconic me, and iconic me is all of it,
Yeah.
right?
So what was the most dramatic
Oh, you asked about clients, yeah.
client? Yeah, exactly.
I've had
The most dramatic. Some examples of people that have added have added that element to their life, that missing element to their lives, and what were their changes in their lives? What they changed?
yeah. Um, so I had, for example, a client who was trying to pretend to be like the perfect mom and just like she was acting like she was like she's air and fire, but she was trying to act like she was like air and like water, so like really soft. That's an easy one for fire to try to like soften things. Let me wear flowy skirts, and I'm just going to be a PTA mom, and I'm really sweet, and I'm really loving, and I'm super maternal, right? Um, and then she realized she wasn't water; she's actually air and fire. And she was like, "This is why I've always been attracted to like tattoos, and I've always been." And so she started sort of leaning in, overcoming the fear of what other people were going to say. She started wearing like leather skirts to school drop off, stilettos, and her parents lived right next door to her. And she would just be like, "Here, I'm taking the kids, whatever." And they would see her dressed out in like her dominatrix shit. And she and her husband started going to swingers parties, like sex parties. They like and owning it. And then her business became full throttle, sex coaching. And she started talking about, all these things that she thought were dirty and bad, orgasms, like all these things. She owned the fuck out of it. And also with her silly air side, right? So that, and obviously her marriage changed too because they bonded in a whole new way because he had some kinks and like some things that he was interested in that he was able to express as well because she did, right? So that
Wow,
totally
amazing.
changed. Yeah, so that's one example. Um, I have trying to think of somewhat like I've had people who, for example, they're like, "Oh my God, this is me. I'm iconic. I'm like," they finally get themselves, and then it's like I had one client whose fiance or whose boyfriend proposed to her, and she was like, "I've been with you because I was trying to pretend I'm someone else. So actually, thank you for proposing, but you're not like my iconic match. So let's break up." And she broke up with him, and then she found someone who was amazing, and that was an amazing relationship. Um, I've had clients who've become like who have also their relationships have just totally improved, like finally owning a lot of the clients who come to me are either trying to own their space or their fire. And so another client who came and owned her fire, and she was like, "But I want to be a freak in the bedroom. Like I kind of want to do all this stuff, but I'm scared that he's gonna think like I'm weird or like slutty or dirty." And I was like, you might as well own it. He's your husband. He loves you, and that part of you, he's still your essence. He's gonna feel it. Like if you guys are connected, he feels it. So what if you just lean in and experiment and try, And their sex life became, I don't ever talk about this, but the sex life thing for fires is like off the charts apparently. Once they own it, right? And then from there she went on like to, I don't even know, just her business exploded. She became like a style icon in her little industry and community, an influencer, all these things. And just more than that, she trusts herself like no one else. Like she's like Yoda level, you know what I mean? Like ninja, like
Yeah.
connected and just acts from total and complete trust, no matter how fucking crazy. I'm talking getting rid of programs that have made millions of dollars for her, and then because she knows that's not what she's being guided to do, and then doing the next thing, and it's $1 million success too, right? So, yeah. So the degrees vary really of from personal to professional. It really changes everything, which I mean, of course it does. Um, because what happens when you allow yourself to be exactly like your fullest expression and embodiment, right?
Yeah.
Only cool, amazing shit can happen. Really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
currently I'm wearing almost the same stuff because like I said, I prefer not buying anything than buy something just for the sake of buying it. What would you recommend if you do recommend when someone is starting to do this work with you? Like, do you make this old wardrobe cleaning, like get off, get those piece of clothing, get rid of those piece of clothing or something like that. Because sometimes there was a time that I would open my wardrobe and I would just feel, oh my God, I just feel like doing like this and just throw it all the garbage, because
Yeah.
this is not, one piece of clothing just matches my iconic version or
Yep.
energy or essence or whatever. Because I've been
Yep.
dressing for work, for this and for that and for that. And there was a time that I was looking at my wardrobe and I was just like, I never bought something to wear for
Yeah.
me, for me.
And I call those pieces like either a fuck yeah or the iconic relics. Those things were like, this is an iconic relic. Like this, you just know, like that just is a total match for your essence, right? And it sounds like that was missing in your closet.
Because I know there are pieces in my closets that, because they are all mixed up, I know that they can be a fuck yeah if they are mixed with another, with a space element, for
Yep.
example.
Yep.
So that's why I haven't got rid of it, because it's not a hell no.
Yeah. I get that.
It's like a yes, even if I bought it to dress for that occasion. And I know that that piece of cloth would be just a perfect match with something, with a blend, mix it with an air, piece of clothing, or an
Yeah.
earrings, or
Necklace or
a
yeah.
necklace, or a hat or something like that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm sensing for you, for you, the things that really help when you're starting this journey, um, number one is starting to connect with your element that you've been neglecting, right? So if you've been neglecting like space, for example, start talking, let space know, because again, it's been duct taped, stuffed in a closet, and it's
Yep.
trying to pound its way out, right? But you're like, nope, nope, I don't want to see you, right? So if you start inviting it in, hey, space, what do you want to wear today? Give it extra attention. It needs to be nurtured. It needs to be invited back in, right? Space. What would feel fucking amazing right now to wear? What are we doing today? What do you want to eat? What, like, literally start talking to it and understanding it's a consciousness and you can invite it back in, right?
Okay.
That's one thing I would invite you to start doing. And it can help you, like, you can just focus primarily, it can be like the space takeover, closet takeover, and it can be for a week. You can be like, you know what, space, you're dressing us, so go ahead, tell me what we're wearing today. And you just kind of scan and see where it guides you, right? Just grab things. That's one thing that's really important at the beginning, and just let space do its thing and fire will work back in. It's almost like once space gets its voice and its place back, then fire will know when to come in and be like, all right, now we're tag teaming. Now it's not just me anymore. Now we can kind of hang out together, right?
Mm.
It'll just happen kind of naturally. Secondly, what I would invite you to do with your closet, even if you have those pieces that you're like, I don't really know how to wear them right now, but they're still, I like them. If they could be a fuck yeah, if I wear them with something, they're good ingredients. I would invite you to actually take them out of your closet and put them in a not yet box, or a pause box, as I call it,
Mm.
and put it in your calendar to go revisit that pause box in like 2 months. Go
Yeah.
shop from it and just see and just see. And then maybe you'll be like, oh God, I love this. And now I know I saw those cool tights or that cool belt, and that's perfect for this, right? So just trust iconic you also, that you don't have to figure this all out. Everything, including what you wear, can be magic. Like, you don't know how many times I've had clients also be like, they understand, like, we talk about all this, they understand their elements, and they're like, oh my God, I know, I want a pair of silver booties that kind of look 80s, da, 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 da. And then they're just on whatever Instagram, and they see a thing for it. And then they're like, oh, fuck, I love that. I saw the perfect boots, but they're too expensive and they don't have my size. And then I'm like, just hang out, imagine the boots. And then, of course, the boots, one pair left, their size, and 50% off. This shit, like, magic is everywhere. And the way you dress and how clothing comes into your world doesn't need to be any different, right?
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. So
Yeah.
what elements would be the most common ones?
Well, I think it's all pretty, probably space in a combination is probably the rarest.
Mhm.
Um,
So
because space is all of the elements.
so you have four elements, correct? Or five?
Five:
Five.
air, water, fire, earth, space.
Air, water, fire,
Earth and
earth.
space.
Oh, earth. You didn't
Yeah.
have the earth one before, correct? or did you?
Yeah, I've always
I
had it.
did
Look,
it.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
5 minutes. Okay.
yeah. And a lot of people, a lot of space people actually try to seem like Earth. I definitely did. Like, try to look like a normal human, try to look professional and classic, try to be organized and get an office
Yeah,
job, try
yeah.
to seem organized and, smart and informed. But it doesn't work for very long because it's exhausting, right?
It's boring, and people are not happy when they are dressed like that, you know? They see.
Unless they're Earth and that's their thing, right? But like if you're defaulting to something else, it's like you're in a disguise or like you're hiding.
So, and did you probably, probably say yes, but because sometimes there are people, there are customers that are by default on their space, and which in their elements it's earth, correct? Did you had some
Um,
customers do
I
this
think
kind of change?
trends can do that a little bit. Like right now, it's very trendy to like do the space thing and to be minimalist and to like wear lots of neutrals. So I see a lot of people that are definitely not space who are dressing space because it's kind of what's in style. I see it a lot on TV when people are getting dressed, and I'm like, lady, you are not fucking space. You take off those alien glasses. You're not fooling me. Um, so when it's about trends and like letting someone dress you because that's what's in style, a lot of times there's a total mismatch. Yeah, definitely. So right now space happens to be trendy. So a lot of people who aren't space are definitely doing some spacey things right now. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I
and that,
think when I okay.
no, no, I was going to say that all this trendy, all these trends that always that comes every summer, every spring, every winter, or whatever,
Yeah.
uh, kind of no, it really influences how people choose those piece of clothing. And
Yeah.
sometimes, if not every time, when I go on the streets and for a walk or something like that, it's like watching people dressed all the same way sometimes makes me like, mm,
Oh
that
yeah. It's yeah. Because you can feel it, right? There's a just
yeah,
like
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. They're just buying it because it was available at the shop to buy, so that person wanted to buy it, and doesn't makes any sense wearing that piece
Yeah,
of.
and maybe even the clerk is like, "Oh, it looks great on you. It fits perfectly. You can. It's trendy. It's what's happening right now. You can wear it with this shirt." And then people walk out. Like I see that here all the time. French women tend to default a lot to the. I think the key based culturally here, like a lot of women dress water and earth, so it's very classic, and then also very like
Yeah,
dainty and soft. And then I see some women, I'm like, it's I mean you can tell when it's I can tell when it's not a match. They're just wearing it because it's like the bohemian thing or whatever. That's
yeah.
not meant for everyone. You can like it, but it's not, that doesn't mean like your essence is like that's what we're doing, that's what we right. But ego wants us to fit in and to make sense and to be categorizable.
And
If
also,
I dress like this and I'm showing okay.
social media that pops in all this kind of information, like how to be more a boho person, how to dress boho in your 50s, how to dress boho in your first 40s, but
Yep,
don't want to dress like boho. You want to dress like more like quirky, more awkward, more spacey.
exactly,
So
more
people
iconic
buy people buy what they see.
because of what it's going to mean externally. I'm going to look hip. I'm going to look trendy. I'm going to look younger. It's going to look flattering. I'm going to look rich. I'm going to look successful. I'm going to look credible.
Yeah,
That's what people are going for instead of like, okay, what is the outfit today that's going to support my fullest unfolding? Because that's all it's like any other task that any other fuck yeah that you get or action, like when we get a download or whatever, like that whisper, the standalone, like go do this, right? It's the same with what you wear. Go to this place and then you meet the person of your dreams or whatever. The same thing, like the clothing is part of that. Like it's amazing how people kind of treat it as something separate, but it's like you follow your instructions. Like if you allow yourself to listen for them, right? I have to get dressed today, so what am I wearing? Iconic me. Let's do this. And so the way that I help trick brain is by asking, like, if you feel like your brain is still dictating what you wear, you can ask, what would I never wear with this? What would I never wear today? What would I never ever wear today? And brain's going to be like, oh, and then iconic, you can finally be like, I'll show you what you wouldn't wear today. And then you start putting an outfit together that you would never put together before, using your brain, right? And your ego.
Yeah. There was like many years ago when I was in this discovery of what to dress, because I was really struggling with my clothing. I was just like, my God, I want to buy some clothes. I want to buy something for me, and I cannot find something that it really turns me on. So I went to this workshop with a woman here in Portugal, in the Algarve, and I did also a quiz that she also had a quiz, but with some cards, with some piece of clothing, and she said to pick some cards like this and that, and by the end, the biggest amount was meant one thing, and the smaller amount meant another thing. And my result was that, because I was avoiding the pink colors, and I've always avoided pink because I don't know, pink doesn't, it's not that that doesn't match. I do have some piece of clothing that are pink and I do love them, but it's not all of them.
Yeah.
It's not a color that I would go.
It's not the
It's like
leading color. Yeah.
yeah. For example, I love black. I
Yeah.
love being in black. Black, 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 black. I never get fed up of black. And I remember that she's saying that I was afraid being romantic. And I was just like, am I? Because I feel romantic when I'm dressing in black. It's not that I'm afraid of showing my feelings just because I'm not wearing pink, because pink is very associated to love, to all those feelings of
Yeah.
sweetness and feminine and la la la. And I do feel feminine like this. Why would I wear pink if
Yeah.
just to match that kind of paradigm? So
Exactly.
you know,
It's a little simplistic, right? It's a little like based in illusion, right? Like, this is, if you like pink, or if you avoid it, it means this. If you like it, it means that, and that's it. And there's no nuance, right? But there's lots of nuance. You
yeah,
can like pink a little bit and still be super sensual and super romantic. It's just your version of it doesn't need to look like anything earthly. That's the thing. We want everything to be categorizable, and we want everything to have a point of reference or a very clear source. But when we're listening to cosmic intelligence
yeah,
for dressing, for eating, for how we move through our world, for what we put out into the world, for a lot of it, like, especially if you're a space, like, it hasn't existed here on Earth. You're not meant to be categorizable. You're fucking space.
yeah. I remember you have shared something along with your quiz. I think it was a Pinterest pin boards.
Yep.
And I've watched that the element the
Oh, the masterclass.
images
Oh,
that were space element, and I was just like, oh my God, those are the pieces that are missing on my wardrobe. Even the earrings, all the stuff, all the spice, the space like alien stuff, you know. And
yeah, yeah. Like metallics. I could see you with lots of
metallics,
metallic,
exactly, metallics.
strangely shaped sunglasses. They don't necessarily even have to be like, oh, I look like I'm, but they like just things that aren't really
Odds.
categorizable.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was
Let me
just
see
like,
that.
oh my God, I am so freaking out by wearing one of those.
It's scary because we've been told like those parts of us are not desirable.
Yeah. I love your work. I don't know. What do you want to talk more about your work before we end our podcast?
No, this is beautiful. I'll follow your lead. I mean, this has been fun. This is, yeah, I love this. You've been asking amazing questions.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, those are this because these questions really, because they appeal to me as well, and it's something that even I had some conversations in the past with some past clients and other podcasts, and the clothing and the wearing stuff have we have brought that up, and there are some many people that still they keep still wearing all the same clothes because of this tendency to wear what fits in,
Yeah,
and
what's safest. Yeah.
what is safest, what is comfortable. And by comfortable, it's not, doesn't mean it's comfy. It's like doing dressing in a way that
Emotionally comfortable. Yeah.
emotional comfortable, that won't feel, that you won't feel that you are standing out. But
Yep.
there was a time in my life, and I've talked to a coach like last week about that, that there was a time in my life that I did some tests, and I'm going to wear these clothes just to see how people react. And the next day I'm going to wear this, and the next day I'm going to wear that. And no matter the clothes that I was wearing, I would have always the same reaction. And I was like, this is not about the clothing, this is about my energy. That was the
Yeah.
first time that I realized it wasn't about the clothing, it was about the energy.
Yeah.
So whether I was wearing this or that, people would stare at me, would look at me anyways, because it's the energy, it's my natural energy. But
Yeah.
I know that I take a lot of space, but it's not intentionally, because I know my energy, it's big, and I know when I walk in a
The sun
room,
is big. Yes. You're the sun,
yes,
you're fire, baby. So yeah, of course. But
yeah,
that's your biggest gift. Your gift is to like warm people or burn the ones like trigger, show them what's possible. Like you're the most extroverted of the elements. So
yeah,
your role is literally to be like the sun. Like some people hate the sun, some people bask in the sun, right? So just
yeah,
like, but you just being and exuding that is going to be healing, especially as a space person with fire. Holy shit! Like that's like people basking in your energy. Like just that can be healing. Not like a, oh my god, just be in my energy way, but it's fucking true. Like them witnessing you just being in your bigness and owning that is healing, and it puts a fire under their asses.
yeah.
I'm sure you witnessed that with your clients.
Many times, many times.
Yeah.
And even
So
not that I've pushed people away, but people push away themselves because they cannot withstand
the
uh,
heat.
the heat and get near, because they have their
Perfect.
own projections, they have their own fears, and it, I did felt bad in the past because I had no idea what was happening. I wanted to feel that sense of belonging and to people to like me, and I didn't knew why I was pushing people away until there was a point in my life that I realized, no, I'm not pushing people away. People are ejecting themselves from my field because they cannot withstand being around such huge, powerful, big energy.
Energy.
And I'm
Yeah.
not, I'm not going to diminish who I am, or playing small, keeping myself small just for them to
Yeah.
like. So my
Yeah.
circle of friends have been, reducing and reducing and reducing a long time, along many years, and probably
Yeah.
even smaller, because the more I get mature and the more I am willing to wear what I really meant to wear, I know that will have an impact, and that impact
Of course.
eventually will, evacuate, eject people away, and will bring new people
Yeah.
in. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. And no matter how it happens, it's like ego wants to say that you did something wrong or that you did something bad or that you need to change something to make others comfortable because how did everyone is supposed to like you? Everyone is right. But that's ego shit, right? So when you think of iconic you, that's your role is not to be everybody's friend. Like you, do you know what I mean? Like it's impossible to be everybody's friend and it's impossible to be loved by everyone. You
yeah,
have something way bigger than that, right? And so everyone who comes in or leaves, when you are in total and complete truth and ownership and iconicness, it's exactly how it's meant to be.
yeah. And from this talk, for example, I didn't wear makeup today because I didn't feel like wearing makeup, and I'm just like, well, okay, I'm going to do the podcast. Do I want to wear makeup? No, I just want to look natural. You know,
Beautiful.
not because
Well
I
done.
exactly. But in the past, I would do some makeup and put some red lipstick, which I love the red. Red, it's my
Your
uh,
magical color.
my signature
Yeah, I
lipstick.
imagine.
I love the red lipstick. And I was like, no, today I don't feel like putting some makeup on. I'm just going to show up
Beautiful.
like this because this is how I'm feeling. But from this talk, what I'm realizing is how powerful your work is.
Hmm.
Work is really, really, really powerful. How clothing and what we wear can impact our lives in such deep, deep, deep ways. For the worse or for the better? This,
Yeah,
for the worse or for the better, because sometimes we are so attached to a certain kind of elements that we kind of fear losing people in our lives. We kind of fear losing our jobs and losing whatever the fuck.
of
But can be
course.
so incredible healing. Your work is so incredibly healing and so incredibly powerful that
Mm.
today with this talk, I just had more this layer of realization that it's really a powerful work what you do.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Um, no, and I receive that. And it's always because I don't feel like it's mine, but I feel like I'm honored that I'm able to be the carrier of it or whatever. And so it never ceases to amaze me. I have to say that. Yeah. It never ceases to amaze me.
Yeah, because in the
So
end, people wear in a very distorted ways, in very distorted ways. Like they wear what they think people think they want to wear. And that's a very unhappy
exactly. So
happy way
yeah.
of living.
So you're disguised as the person you want others to see you as, and your self-worth and the story you're telling. Or you can choose to express the fuck out of your elements and get to iconic you, which is the most truthful, um, cosmically conscious version of yourself. I
Absolutely.
mean, the choice is pretty obvious to me because that's just an entry point. That's just an entry point. Just the beginning.
I love that.